So the best part about doing the Your Evolution is that Mark and I are getting to connect with so many amazing and inspiring people. And in this week's episode, we've connected with somebody who has inspired us and has inspired many others, so much so that they've created a community of people who are coming together on a weekly basis to do cold water therapy and breathing. The group's called Into the Deepest, and honestly, this is one of the best episodes I've ever seen. It's one of the best stories. The whole ethos of Your Evolution is about people taking responsibility for their own change and their own wealth and well-being, and this group summarises it perfectly.
And this guy you're about to see, Gerald Neal, is like the Scottish version of Tony Robbins. He's a life coach and he's filled with so much wisdom, and he puts it across in a way that's so relatable to you and I in Scotland. We met up with Gerald, had a chat with him, and then he also invited us up to Loch to go in for a dip with him and all the members of his group Into the Deepest. It's really cool what happens up there. A few funny things went wrong, so it's going to be an entertaining episode for you, which I hope you really enjoy. So before we dive into it, just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying these videos, please do us a favour and hit the subscribe button below this video. Let's get into it.
Cheers.
Into the Deepest began through a Facebook group set up by life coach Gerald Neal. Gerald had a very tough childhood, abandoned as a kid and growing up in a series of children's homes. He was smoking cigarettes at the age of 7 and had puffed his first joint before the age of 10. And through bullying, poverty and childhood trauma, Gerald essentially developed a form of PTSD and had difficulties with breathing and panic attacks. A long road to recovery eventually led Gerald to breathwork, and also many years of personal development where he has achieved numerous qualifications in alternative therapies. And Gerald has now completely transformed his life and is helping many others do the same through coaching and his group Into the Deepest. The group was originally called the Scottish Hoffers because the members were doing the breathwork and cold water exposure promoted by Wim Hof. Wim Hof is a legendary Dutchman who has become world famous for teaching millions how to take charge of their mental and physical health through a deep breathing technique and exposure to cold water. Gerald now leads a Facebook community of almost 500 members from all over Scotland who are using the Wim Hof Method to become healthier, stronger people. They've got cold water tubs out in their back gardens, they meet up at weekends for dips in the water outside, and they do breathwork sessions together. But this group has become so much more than just an alternative health practice. These men and women have formed a close community, spreading positivity and supporting each other to become the best versions of themselves. Here Gerald tells us what his work is all about and how the Facebook community began to grow.
Loads of good people found it, people who were doing their own thing, lost, maybe really bad coping strategies, could be addiction, coming back from chronic stress, mental health, life's just not treating them the way that they expected to be at this time in their life, and looking for something, finding maybe holotrophic breathing techniques, the cold exposure, the real dynamic characters like Wim Hof. But that's it, just doing it ourselves, and all of a sudden people directing them to that page, and then there's a community. And the idea between looking to build a community is just a very safe environment where people can come and express themselves. So where people can come and talk about their journey through breathwork, encouraging each other to meet up, to go into water, to do their own cold water practice, their own breathwork practice, their own meditation, to get engaged in hill walking and days out. And we've had some brilliant times where people suffering, and it's no uncommon, social anxiety. Life's just not treated them properly, they've just been caught up in whatever life's threw at them, and they've isolated themselves, and now run about groups of people who are not comfortable. And when you start walking through nature, breathing in really fresh air, and all of a sudden you're moving, so your endorphins are starting to go, and it's like being at the gym, you start talking to somebody else, and it's like people moving up and down the line and people talking to other air, and then you recognise, do you know what, I am not alone in this journey. This is a shared experience that many people are having, but they've no got a format to express that. And when they come together on that page, it's a very safe environment. So here's the theme behind it. See if you can't build somebody up. You see something, you're going through some stuff yourself that day, you see a post, it triggers something that's happened in your past, you can't bring it to you to encourage, to motivate or support the person, then move on. Move on. You can't build them up, then don't pull them back down. Now what's happening is, there's a dynamic where people are using it for accountability processes. So I'm a coach, so when I work with people in a performance capacity, they've got to pay me 85 quid for about 45 minutes session, but a lot of people can't afford that. So if you've been in a hole and you're just crawling out of darkness and you can see glimmers of lights, maybe economically you're not in the best place. But see when you start using social media in a really positive way, where you start putting it out here, I'm coming back for this, I've been struggling for that, and people are going, well done you mate, keep on going, what an experience, you're doing great here, maybe look to try that, or wow, thanks for sharing that because I've been feeling the same way. And then using it for the accountability, we go a 30-day challenge. So using cold tubs, going into rivers, going into lochs, going under waterfalls for 30 days, every day for a few minutes. Because what will happen is if you commit to that, you'll get to 14, 21, 16 days, and for whatever happens, a life is going to hit you. And you go, I cannot be bothered. But then you think, I've been posting on that and battering on about I'm doing a 30-day challenge, and then you do it. And by doing it, you change how you feel, because it's not about saying it, it's about doing it. And that's a Glaswegian term for, it's not about talking about it, it's about actually doing it. And that's a true thing, because it's action that changes. Theory's great. Theory's a bit about how do I do something, and if I do that, what would be the results? But to get the results, you need to have the experiential approach by actually doing it, going under cold showers, going into cold water, actually doing the breath work. And if you commit for that for a sustained period of time, change happens. So that's really the basis about the page, and from that has been like life enhancing stuff for me personally, things that raises up your soul. Now I used to think it was watches, motors, material things, because I came from poverty. So because I get bullied for going to school like a pure tramp when I was a wee boy, my mind associates material things with social status, material things with acceptance into social circles. So as I'm going through teenage years and becoming a young man, then my value is what I'm wearing, my value is what I own. Outside things out here is going to come in and make me feel alright here, but it's an inside job. So it's like inside here, looking to influence what happens out there, and it's a powerful, powerful process when you can start going in, because when you go in, you can start changing. And breath work, cold exposure, nutrition, active mobility, exercise, social regulation, they're hugely powerful in the change process. But what used to happen with me is, and I know a lot of people might identify with this, I used to just be crackers with it. So I used to just be at the dancing, then who's who at the zoo, taking this, taking that, going to the parties, wearing the clays, and after a period of time through that, things wouldn't be working. And when things are not working, I would just go, right, I need to make a change, right? No drink, no drugs, smoke cigarettes at that time, no smoking, go to the gym 6 days a week, plant-based diet, meditate for 2 hours a day, get into yoga, I'll get up at 5:30 in the morning, I'll do yoga, and just all these amazing things, but overwhelm myself, you know, try to change the world in one day. And then eventually what would happen is I would fail, because life would happen, I couldn't perform one task, maybe the 2 hour meditation, 6 days into it, I can only do 40 minutes, and I say, oh well, fuck it, what's the point then? And then I just abandon everything, and that would reinforce the belief that I can't change. I've tried again, I can't change. And then I would go back to the old coping strategies, go back to what I was saying, go and buy clays, because that'll make us feel better. But you look at that and you go, well, where does the outside stuff come from? Do you develop that and you say, no, it's core beliefs that happen as we're growing up. And then all of a sudden you recognise that how I've lived my life isn't working for me anyway. I don't know how to change it, because all my pals, they've got the exact same coping strategies. Why would they know? Because if you're going to sit in a house for 3 days chewing the carpet, it takes a unique social group to do that. So what you've got to actually do is you gravitate to like-minded people, and if all of a sudden, for whatever reason, your like-minded group are not cutting it for you anymore, and you've read a book, you've heard a podcast, you've maybe seen somebody who's doing something, you go, I know there's something better inside me, and you don't know how to change it. How do you do that? Well, you come together with communities. And when communities come together and we go away in retreats and we do the cold water, which is great, some boys you're charged up, you're doing group meditations, they're all fantastic. But see when you sit round on a table and you create a sacred space and you use what the native tribes used to do, and you get a talking stick and you say everybody's voice here is one and it's equal. We've came here 19 individuals and now we're going to unite into humanity in one circle of unity, and whoever holds a sacred stick has the floor to say whatever they want to say, and there is nobody here who's going to fix them, there's nobody here who's going to regulate, to change them. It's just a sacred space for you, and we ask every participator to do some breath work and to hold that sacred space, and then you hear people's journey and you just go like that. Don't judge a book by its cover. You think, well, I thought that guy was like maybe came from middle class background, couple of doctors and stuff like that as their parents, and maybe went to university, and then he tells you about the challenges, the childhood trauma, the battles with bullying, with addiction, with mental health, with trying to be a father and trying to be a proper person in a relationship, and that's what lifts up your soul. Because when you strip it all back, we are the exact same. But here's the thing that really works with it all. When we see somebody else having success, it's no like, oh my God, he's doing better than me. He's got more money than me, more success for me, more this, so it means there's less for me. A pure fixed mindset. So anybody that's been involved in skullduggery in their past would know, if he's doing a bit better than me, it means I'm getting less status, less money, so there's less in the pie for me. But when you, that's a humanist, that's like materialism. But when you start evolving spiritually, which doesn't need to be like getting the Jesus sandals on and out shouting hallelujah, it can also just be like there's an internal shift inside me, and when I recognise somebody else developing, then naturally inside me grows a growth mindset, because I recognise that that person's success is a pathway to me to succeed. And if I want what that person's got, rather than being jealous or bitter and trying to pull them down, I just need to ask them, how did you do that? And if you wrap it and frame it like this, see what you've done, that's absolutely amazing. I am so impressed, you are just smashing it right out the park. They will absolutely tell you, because everybody likes a bit of praise. They'll go, here's exactly how I done that. And they say success leaves clues, I've heard that somewhere, and you just say, well, if I model what that person's doing, maybe I'll be successful. So what do we do into the deepest? Then we're modelling success, and we're using tools, breathwork, meditation, my own practice, transcendental meditation, cold exposure, hot water, yoga type stuff. I don't know if you could quite call mine yoga, but it's an attempt at pulling some yoga moves, using that as a tool. So these are all just tools for a purpose, but the purpose for most people in our group is to be a better version of ourselves. It's not to be defined by experiences that happened in the past, because I don't know one single human being who's ever crossed my path who has not done something one time in their life that they look back at and go, I could have done better there. But the people normally are doing the best that they can do at that particular time, and when they know better, they can do better. So it's not to judge people, and people shouldn't judge themselves on the worst aspects of their life. They should start judging themselves on the potential to be the best that they can possibly be. And now that I'm in my 40s, and certainly for the last 10 years of this journey, the people I work with is like value-based coaching. How can I be the best parent possible? How can I go into a relationship and work through whatever challenges in that relationship without being a wee boy and try to start maybe sex texting people on social media, or going out with my pals and disappearing, or tanning all the money? I don't know why that's happening to me, but what is it that I can do to change that? And that's when you start getting really fundamental value-based stuff. And people, I think, really do want to be the best version of themselves. But see if you stand alone and there's 7 billion people in this world, and you stand there and you think that you cannot reach out and touch one other human being, you're surrounded with people, social media's blasting at you constantly, and you're dying inside with loneliness, then this is where communities are building up. What we're looking for is actual physical connection, to meet up with campuses, to go into Loch Lomond, to just go into the water, get up early, go into the motor, get some brotherhood, get some sisterhood, join in with humanity, use nature as a powerful tool to heal, go into that water, so that when we come back to our children, our lives, our community, our roles and responsibilities, then we're fired right up. And by doing it round about people who are not talking about who's who and who, he's done this, he's done that, they're the wrong and they're this and that, but people are going like that. I am proud to stand beside you, mate. Thanks for being vulnerable and sharing some of the most challenging periods in your life. And let me tell you, the past doesn't equal the future. You can transform, you can change. It's not going to be easy, but here's some basic things that you can do for yourself, by yourself, and whenever you need to change yourself. Breath work, meditation, cold water exposure.
I've been involved in it at the deepest probably about 13, 14 months. I know one of the kind of guys that started at Jed. I know him I've known him for a long time. We kind of just started to get involved, and I've been through the 12-step programme, and this is a kind of 11-step prayer and meditation. This is a kind of form of meditation for me. Been to a few seminars on breathing techniques and stuff like that, and then got involved in the Wim Hof technique, which then brought the cold showers and then into the water. I'm a drug addict.
Okay.
That's the truth. I've been clean for nearly 9 years, and then getting into this was just something that I find a power in nature, and in the cold water I feel alive, and that's really it. You know, it takes me back to that. It gives me a bit of ease and comfort, and I really connect to the water.
Is this a big part of you staying on the right track?
Massive. I mean, you've seen the amount of guys that are here today. You know, the camaraderie. You know, if somebody's coming and one of us isn't feeling great, we'll get round about each other. You know, we'll get into the water, we'll do the breathing techniques, and it's just kind of trying to get out of yourself. You know what I mean? And that's where recovery is because when I'm thinking about other people, I'm not thinking about myself. And that's, for me, is what the essence of this is all about, you know. We're here to help each other.
Started getting into this in February this year. Started off just doing cold showers and stuff like that, and I'd seen Jed on Instagram on his Dynamic Creations page. So I've been doing it properly, consistency, since probably May. But for me, the biggest thing for this is completely changing my personality, so it is. For me, the whole reason with me getting into this, I was suffering from chronic stress, depression, anxiety, I had really bad anger. I've got a 5-year-old wee lassie, and missus at home, and to me I just wasn't being the person in that environment that I wanted to be. I've got another son on the way, he's due in March, so nice. I started doing all this. I do life coaching with Jed every week. Just really focused in on myself, just to be the best is what I know I can be. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Who wants to feel like that at the end of the day? Do you know what I mean? And loads of various different people will message me and they'll say they'll be shocked that I would say these things that I had stress, depression, anxiety, because they think that I was always dead confident and stuff like that.
Do you find that overcoming the fear of the cold and getting in there, do you think that's helping and strengthening your mindset as well?
Massively. I'm like a different. If I had said I'd be doing this stuff now to myself 2 years ago, I'd have been laughing. Like, where you go, you weirdo, do you know what I mean? You'd think it's super part, but the benefits to it, it's unreal. I've got a cold tub at my back, I go in it every single morning before I go to work, and that just sets me right up for the day, and it completely chills me out. I've just launched a new business. Like I says, I'm going to be a dad again. My girlfriend, she's at university doing primary school teaching. I've got a lot going on in my life, do you know what I mean? So I need to be on it, do you know what I mean? For me and my family.
And this is a big part of you getting focused and being on the right track.
Massive part. I couldn't recommend it enough. The boys in this trip are absolutely amazing. So
and one question, how do you feel when you're in the water?
Cold.
Always
amazing, mate, honestly. It's like a complete rush of adrenaline. So it is. I came out of here on a Sunday and I'm literally ready to take on the world. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's as simple as that.
Social inclusion, it's really post, and here's why. There have been many studies done over the years that looked at children in incubators. For whatever reason, children when they were born had to go into incubation chambers, and when they used to take them away from the mothers and put them in total isolation, then the recovery rate was bleak, right, because the nervous system never felt safe. But then they changed it and they allowed the parents to go in there and put gloves in with the incubator and touch the children, and the recovery rate went through the roof. Now, we are human beings, but we need connections. We need to touch people. Now, it was Mother Teresa, I think, that says decades ago that the biggest disease in the world today isn't all these things, coronavirus, cancers, whatever. It's the actual loneliness that people are experiencing. And what's happening when people are isolating themselves? Mental health's going through the roof, suicide's going through the roof, domestic abuse is going through the roof, addiction is going through the roof. People are not well equipped to cope with what's going on in society. And it's not to blame people for their their lifestyle choices. Their lifestyle choices is them trying to cope with the reality of their life consciously. But the problem lies unconsciously, where the belief system was, I'm getting bullied because of the clothes that I'm wearing. So if I've got these type of clothes, then I'll be accepted into social circles. Now you do that to a wee boy or a wee lassie at 6, then no wonder when they're 36 or 46 that they're dressing their wains in Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, spending hundreds of pounds to send their wains to school with the latest material possessions, because they're projecting what happened to them might happen to their children, and just by that projection alone they are switching on the stress response, which is autonomic, unconscious. They're experiencing all these physical sensations that are spilling into mental health challenges, and to cope with that they're going drink, drugs, adultery, sex, clothes, money, whatever it is. And what we're looking to try and say here is, not just me but as a community, and say, see, while you're working through that shit that you need to work through to pull yourself away from it, it's not just about saying don't do this, don't do that, don't it. These are deep rooted core beliefs that are driving this really automatic behaviour. But if we, while we're doing that, if we can start practicing this, you don't need to sit for 50 minutes doing transcendental meditation or going Om, which is all very beneficial when you start becoming experienced, but there's nothing to stop people taking 2 minutes to switch off Sky Sports, to flick out of their social media, to put their phone down, and when they know better, do better, and just do a really deep abdominal breathing exercise, which is excellent for reducing the stress hormones. For while they're having a shower or having a bath, do their normal bathing and then switch it just to cold and start training their body to experience eustress, which is still stress but in a very controlled manner, which has a massive impact on biological, emotional and mental health. And by that journey, going on that journey individually, things will change, but doing it as part of a community, you speed up that process. And the key thing I'm always saying to people is, see, if you're going to judge yourself, right, do it in the best case scenario. Look, if you want to look at your past and give yourself a tanking, what is the point? Do you know, because if you walk down the street and somebody walked up to you and go like that, see, you're fat, you're ugly, you're no the best looking, you're no clever, you're no confident or whatever, you would be right up and you go, you talking to, you're a fight or flight, fight would kick right in, you'd be right on them, or you would just crumble and do a runner, fight or flight, one of these things would come up there. But people do that to themselves all the time. People say that to themselves all the time. You're no good enough, you can't do this, you can't do that. And where does that come from? Were they born like that? Or did they have a series of experiences in life that have conditioned them to respond a certain way under certain circumstances? And if that's the best that you can get, and if this is where you are in your life now, and you look about and you say, I thought I would have done a bit better right now than where I'm at, and I know I could have done better, but I don't know how to change it. Well, why not start changing it now? Why not reach out and say, here, see me here, I'm fucked right now. You know, I have tried my best, I don't know how to change all that. And I'm not saying it's going to change straight away by doing that, but by going on a journey, by taking one step in front of the other, and for some people it's crawling forward an inch at a time, but by doing that, life can change. And the coping strategies, when the nervous system feels safer, the cocaine use disappears, the alcohol consumption disappears, they having to have sex with random other people to build yourself up, losing lust for love starts coming all the way right down, and you move away from the outer world and you come into the inner world, and when you come within, you will never go without. And the key to that is, I cannot breathe next week, I cannot breathe yesterday, I can only breathe right now. The breath pulls me here. But as human beings, we have uniquely powerful gifts. One is time travel. Well, we can go back into the past using memory. And normally, unconsciously, we will select the worst of our past and project that into our present. Or, equally, because something happened in the past, we can use a powerful gift called imagination to slaughter ourselves and literally kill ourselves by creating anxiety, looking into the future, using imagination in the worst case scenario. And the best way to come away from the past, if it was really difficult, or the future that's quite scary, is to come present. And here's a wee phrase somebody says, because the present is a gift. And it's a gift right here, right now, and we can be present using breathwork. We are not alone here. We are not alone. How can we not use breathwork? How can we not use cold exposure to change how we feel? So see if somebody is really, really angry, feeling really down on themselves, or really lacking motivation, I tell you right now, see if they fill a tub of cold water up and they fling themselves right in there, I bet they change how they feel instantly. Because it is freezing, of course it is, it's going to change the chemistry in your body, and that is just the start. These are tools, and what is the tool? It's so that we can use breath work, cold exposure, coaching, meditation, creative visualization, mental rehearsal, to start using these gifts of time travel appropriately, to take the best from our past, the very best, right? Take the time you were most confident, the time you were most generous, the time you felt amazing, the time people go, you're flying. Everybody's got these experiences. One time in their life they've experienced confidence, so if they've experienced it one time, it's not a myth. Confidence must exist. You've experienced it. It's no theory. You have actually experienced all the multitude of sensations, thought patterns that you are calling confidence. So if we've experienced it one time in the past, then it can be experienced at any time. Now the trick is to get that on cue, on demand, when we need it. To go back into the past, bring the best bits forward, release yourself from the rest of it all and say, I was doing my best, here I'm on now, taking the best of that. And if you want to go time travelling into the future, go and look at the best case scenario, go and see what you could become, what you could achieve, the type of parent that you're going to be, the type of partner that you're going to be, abundant health, travel the world, write a book, change the world, go and transform somebody's life. Go and look at it in the future, because here's the thing, lots of people are doing that all around about us, hundreds of thousands. Now I don't know personally hundreds of thousands, but I know high hundreds of people who are having a massively powerful impact on their own life, and as they're working on themselves, that circle of influence shines on other people and it starts influencing them in such a positive way that they start transforming. And there you go, humanity affecting humanity in circles of goodness, people owning their story.
Sometimes before I get into the water, I'm not really quite liking the guy that's going in, you know, because I could be sucking on the background, family issues, relationship issues, you know, just the joys of life, you know what I mean? But I never ever leave that water, no feeling a lot better than I did before I came in. So that's the best way I can describe the benefits that you get if you get in that water. Obviously, on top of that, you get the health benefits of anti-inflammatory properties. I've already spoke to you before, the interview, telling you I'm a runner, so I've also got aches and pains with that, as you can imagine, because you're training 6-7 days a week. The anti-inflammatory properties you get going in the water's second to none. You know, I've had less injuries in the last 2 years than I've ever had my whole life at running. You know, I'm talking about 15 to 20 years of kind of serious running, and I've had less injuries due to it, so the health benefits are great. On top of that, you get the benefits of lack of minimising anxiety, improves depression, you know. You're always, and every time you're in that water, you're in the moment, you're always in the moment, you know, there's no issues with problems with family, problems with the kids, problems with your relationships, you're just there in the moment, and that to me is the greatest benefit you get from it.
Doing the cold water and the breathing technique and stuff like that, it activates your immune system daily, do you know what I mean? So it's strengthening your immune system, so is it. I mean, I don't know if you've, with the Wim Hof stuff, when they done the test on him, with the injected him with the something like E. coli, they didn't even get a raised temperature. Obviously the health benefits have been proven. Obviously Wim Hof's invited loads of people to come and like do tests on him and stuff like that, and even activating parts of his brain that people and scientists have told you for years it's not possible, you know what I mean? And he's done it, so that is, I think all round it's just, I think being out in nature alone does a lot for you. I think that takes a lot of negative energy out of you. I don't know if you're the same, but when you go into nature, I read up a thing about trees and that kind of environment. It takes negative energy away from you. And I don't know, we used to go camping when we were young and all that, and when you were camping, you were free, weren't you? You were just free, you were living life, you know what I mean? No stress, no thinking about anything else other than being in nature, you know?
So we completed our interview with Gerald on the Friday, and he invited us up to join the group for a dip in Loch Lomond on the Sunday morning. But Alan couldn't make it, so our buddy Paul Wilson decided to join me. I was using my mobile phone to record the guys as they jumped off Tarbert Pier, and everything was going just swimmingly.
Get in, Paul.
The group even randomly burst into song, singing Scotland's national anthem. It was a great laugh, and then the guys began shouting for me to hurry up and jump in the water. That was all fun and games on Loch Lomond, but then disaster struck. So I put the camera equipment down on the pier. I got ready to jump in the water, and then my camera decided to go for a wee swim. Everything we had done with Into the Deepest was on that camera. Gerald's interview, gone. Barry's interview, gone. Michael's, Bobby's, Tommy's interviews, all gone. I was absolutely gutted, man. The equipment had been underwater for around 60 seconds, but then Tommy came over and dived underwater. And then this happened.
It's fucking working! It's still recording!
finish with this one, right? There's a thing we know, it's called history. People know history, right? His story, history, his story, or history, her story. And when people can own their story, no shame. So the past, when you bring it present, does not create the stress response, so no trauma associated with that, no shame, no guilt, just a story, just an opportunity to learn what was right, what was wrong. For me, just an opportunity to learn from, right, if I do that thing because I've done it in the past and I get that result, that's not the result I was looking for. What happens when the next opportunity for that comes up? To do the different thing. And the only way we can do that and get to that level of focus, that level of self-control and self-development, is by bringing ourselves here, by using breathwork, cold exposure, nutrition, exercise, and emotional regulation and social connection as tools to free ourselves from the past, bring myself right here, do things right now that's when I walk into the mirror have a massively powerful impact on who I've decided I'm going to be. Now think about this one, right? Imagine you sat down and you said to yourself, let's look at every primary important area of my life right now. Right, as a father, my health, my personal development, my wealth, my contribution, as a partner, as a family member, as a friend, and you took every one of them one at a time and you looked at it and you say, where am I right now here? Subjectively, on a scale of 1 to 10, where am I right now here? How well am I performing? And then you say, right, a 5 or a 6 or a 10, and then you say, right, if the very best version of me was to step up, the 10, what would that look like? What would that sound like? What would that feel like? Take the time to write that down and then go into the breath work and start seeing yourself as if it's already happening. And then when you get that benefit for the breath work, for the cold exposure, start going through a process. What do I need to let go of? What am I doing in my life right now I need to stop doing that will allow that to become a reality? Or what is it that I'm doing a wee bit of, but I know that I can do more, and if I do that more, I'll improve in that particular area of my life. How powerful would that be if people had the power to do that? And they do. They do. You know, and it's just by taking responsibility, joining a peer group of people to be inspired, but not just to be inspired by them, by your unique story as an inspiration for somebody else. Because you go at yourself, Dr. Joe Dispenza, phenomenal coach, trainer and leader. I mean, like, blessed to experience a lot of his work firsthand, and then you say to yourself, for a wee guy that's jumping about Postal Renew, Dispenza's a wee up here, he's here. But that guy in Postal Renew who's getting out of his bed every morning, doing the breath work, going to his work, picking his wains up for school, getting into cold exposure, trying to not to smoke green the day, trying not to take gear at the weekend, putting the money back into the house. There's the example right there to the wee guy who's still puffing the green, who's still disappearing at the weekends, who's still got a phone that as soon as it gets off, it's bouncing off the ceiling in case it's a lassie texting him and his missus finds out. They're an example to them, so we need stepping stones. And everybody's story is uniquely powerful when they own it. And when history becomes his story, just a thing that happened to learn from, that's when change is happening and that's when healing's happened, I think, anyway.
Fuck, that was fucking awesome, man. Brilliant, mate.